Well, here we are on the JADASA Live podcast and streaming across social media. This has been a weekend. I'm telling y'all, it's just so much that's going on, so much that has happened in a good way. You know, we have had a lot of events. I want to thank you all that participated. In our online game night, which was Friday. We had so much fun that we forgot to take pictures. So after the event, I was asking all of the participants, I'm like, did anybody take pictures of us on there? And so my niece said she remembered to take maybe 2 pictures, but we clowned and had so much fun on there. We thank all of our sponsors. We showcased them. Some of our sponsors came online with us for the online game night. And so it was really, 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 really fun. I really enjoyed it. They enjoyed it. We had a lot of fun. And of course, we had our event that was Friday. And then Saturday night, October the 9th, we had our Step Into Your Great. If you did not make it there, you missed it. And I'm pretty sure they've talked about it. They're sharing it. However, we just had such a wonderful time. And I just want to shout out to the Bachums, Kevin Bachum and Regina Bachum, for everything they've done, hosting it, open their doors, just everything. I can't thank them enough. Also, of course, my hubby for all the behind the scenes. He does a lot. He goes above and beyond and always give 110% when it comes to any and everything he do, and especially if it's something his wife is doing in the organization to help women and children. He is just all on board. I'm just so appreciative of him. And of course, I want to talk about our dynamic panel. I'm telling you all, these ladies here, Donna Scott, Allison Poske, Sarah White, they're my girls, y'all. Look, they might as well keep their phone on, because I'm going to be calling them. If they don't pick up, I'm going to text. I'm going to get on instant message. I'm going to Facebook them. I'm going to social media them. Then I'm going to stop by the church. I might do a drive-by. So if they think they go get rid of me, nah, you know what? This is a sisterhood that's bonding. And just so much experience up there. Oh my God, the Vicky Calmise of Health Larry is the comedian. She's the first lady. She is so, so beautiful, so beautiful. And I just love the way her comedy act is always, it was wrapped around our bodies and how we as women can take care of our bodies. And, it was funny, but it was serious, because it was true, the things she was saying that we could do to do better and stuff. But she made a comedy act out of it, and it was funny. She was funny. The atmosphere was light. And then she told us some information that was going to help us, even though we're laughing and stuff, because we know the Bible say laughter is good for the soul and stuff. And so it was I just appreciate her. I'm going to be calling her home. That's my sister, my big sister. And I just love her. And oh my God, we had Hope Walker, but she was under the weather, and we're going to use her. You're going to use Hope as well. But I'm so glad we have the option and the opportunity to have more than one saxophonist that we know of. First, I didn't know of these ladies, but I'm telling you, God always have a ram in the bush. When I tell you, Lysella Martin set that evening. She made that even. It was the ambiance of it. When I tell you she was blowing that sax, we were just sitting there talking. She said she just made everything just feel like you even felt like you were sexy. You even felt like a big girl. I mean, just she did the gospel, the jazz, the R&B, all that mixture. It was just beautiful. The food was on point. The decoration was out this world. The ladies, you all were so beautiful. And I can't tell you enough that out of all of that, I love the queening. The queening, where we crowned our sisters. No, we didn't put our own crown on our own head. We put the crown that was in our hands on our sister's head, and they in turn put. When I tell you that was such a symbolic message there, It was just so beautiful, and how everybody had their crowns on and just taking pictures. And I mean, you just felt royalty, and you just felt, love. And, and that's what we want. That's what we, that's the whole atmosphere. Hey, Sister Shalonda. Hey, Sister Lawana. And that's what we wanted because, like I said, we have so many hats. We got hats. We have hats, cleaning hats. We have job hats. We have mama hats. We have wife hats. We have head of household hats. We have gardening hats, grocery store hat. We have coach hat, mediator hat, all that stuff. So you know what? We added another hat. We put on our crowns. We put on our crowns, and it was just an awesome event. And I just can't wait till our next one. When we're going to do it, we'll let you all know. It may have to be a bigger venue, but we were intentional about our location. We were intentional about our highs. Hi, big sister Vicky. I see you, lady. Love her to life. She is funny. And brother, I said elder. I look, Bishop Barker. You all had to be there when he talked about that $500. When I tell you, he had everybody on their knees and on their toes, like he's gonna give us $500, and everybody's waiting to see. Okay, is it gonna be like a what you call it, a trivia game, or is it gonna be like what is when you have to go find something? I can't think of the word right now. So we just sitting there looking, and he talking about $500 on your burial plan. When I tell you he threw me for a loop, I said, oh, okay. And I know I wasn't the only one that was thinking that, like, where's this $500? Because Barkham got $500. He could have given all of us in there. He got it. So we all looking like, okay, where we gonna get this $500? Shoot. When he said your burial plans, I think everybody retreated. So it was funny. It was a beautiful, beautiful Barkham. I just love you. I just ask God to give you and Sister Barkham 100-fold blessing on everything you put your hands to. Make it turn into gold. Make it multiply, because you and Sister Barkham, y'all did not have to do what you all did for me, for the people, for the community. And I've just got an email just today how everything was just done in the spirit of excellence. Just everything was just excellent. Everything. The whole place, And so I am just so excited. You all go to Barkham's Life Celebration Center. It is on Highway 367. Go to his website, rent the place out for some kind of event, whatever it is. I'm telling you, they can transform that building into something. You just have your mouth just falling open, because I was like outdone. I was outdone. And so I am glad about that. A lot of women had some, we talked about some stuff, y'all. We talked about some stuff. And, of course, we couldn't get to everything. And, but what we're going to do is we are going to send out a mass email to everybody that's on the email. And we're going to give you all of our contacts information to the organizations we are over. So that way, whatever information that you didn't get or you did not receive, you can reach out to that individual through their contact information that I will be sending out to you guys later on this week, so you can talk to them. When we're going to have another one, I don't know when, but God knows. And we just go with the flow. We're going to go with the flow. And so, we're here on, Blog Talk Radio. I done kind of got all off my little script, but, that's okay, because this weekend was just phenomenal. And so, I am your host, Cynthia Bennett, live on the Park Talk. You know, we talk about issues dealing with abuse and neglect in the community. We talk about those things. And our platform is to raise awareness. It's to educate, edify, and encourage you and provide resources to you to help through your situation, whatever it is. And, you know, and we want to thank you to our viewers and our listeners and ask that if this podcast and anything that we do for the community and in the community, if it helps you or assists you or your friends or your families or your associates in any kind of way, we're asking you to donate to this much needed cause, because even though we gave back because you are the community. And I always say this, JADASA is a community-based organization. Therefore, you are the community. Therefore, you are JADASA. And so even though we had this event Saturday, this was to give back, to show that, you know, we're giving back because everybody needs somebody to pat them on the shoulder, somebody to give them a head, you know, to lay their head on, to console them and to tell them, hey, you can make it, you can go on, you can move forward. You know, we always need to have that. And so that's what we wanted to do. But guess what? It don't stop. It's Saturday. We still have women that we're dealing with today. We still, I put out the JADASA information in St. Louis. Thank you, Sister Riddle. Thank you. We are still working with people. We're working behind the scenes and still doing things on with the community. And so, if you have anything, we have a JADASA donate button on our website at jadasa.org. We have Cash App at JADASA STL. Your donations are fully tax deductible. Make sure you put your information on there. You know, so, but before, you know, this is October, this is a domestic awareness month, and we're doing a lot. We are doing, and we have done a lot to raise awareness and to bring resources and stuff. And hey, did I give a shout out last week? I'm going to do a shout out again, because I'm going to tell you, I can't thank my pastor, Bishop Baylor and Pastor Marlon Baylor enough. You all don't know. My husband said something, and I'll let him share it if he want to share it. But for them to open up their platform, that is just only the beginning for not just JADASA, but for other organizations that's helping in the community. Because nowadays, churches are realizing that we have got to help the community, because the church is the pillar in the community. So goes the church, so goes the community. And so we don't want that to happen. There is a visible church and an invisible church. And, you know, we see the visible church, but we need to go out there and get those people and heal them, you know, help them to get healed and help them to get resources and help them to know it's okay. You can change your story. Your story does not have to stay the same. If anybody heard me speak last week, you know what I'm talking about. You can change your story. You have the power and the ability. And as long as you're breathing, you got another day to get your story from the end the way you expect it to be. And so we have a lot of things and stuff. You know, we're still doing things around in the community. But before, I want to just tell you about one more announcement we're having. We're going to be doing on October 20th, Wednesday, October 20th. We are working with all of the other domestic violence agencies around the metropolitan area. And so I'm going to try to share this to see if you all can see it. And so this is what we're having. It's called the YWCA Metro St. Louis Candlelight Vigil. We're having a vigil. And then there's a rally that Saturday. But of course, I will be at Developer with the girls. So this Wednesday, which is next Wednesday, not this coming up Wednesday of next week, from 6 to 8 o'clock, we are going to be at the YWCA Metropolitan St. Louis area, and we're going to be doing a candlelight vigil of all of the people that have been lost to domestic violence, families who are there. And what it is, we got a bunch of mayors. The Lord has really graced me to have their ear and get their attention. And so I contacted the mayors, and so they're going to be there, and they're going to proclaim October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in their municipality. Now, I'm going to tell you the mayors that I've gotten. I got Shalonda Webb, which is the council, St. Louis Council at the St. Louis County, the councilwoman. I have Councilwoman Retta Day. I have Mayor Ella Ferguson. Mayor Ella Jones of the city of Ferguson. I have Mayor Reggie Jones of Dalewood. I have Mayor Tommy Pearson of Bellefontaine Neighbors. I have Mayor Sharon Pace of Northwoods. And I have Mayor Babatunde Dienbo of Berkeley. All 7 of these individuals are going to come out at this vigil, and they are going to do a proclamation, and they're going to declare in their municipalities that they're going to declare and proclaim October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So JADASA has a lot of information, and we are in talks of talking with all of the mayors of North County, meeting with JADASA. We're working on some things right now. So things are moving. It's just so much in North County. There's resources that need to be in North County. And so in the mayors in these municipalities, some of these crimes and some of these domestic violence crimes have happened in their municipalities, unfortunately. But I appreciate them and I thank them for wanting to come together to see what can we do. What can we do to help the people in our communities, as they say, their constituents? Because talk is cheap. And I thank them and I appreciate them that they are willing to step forward to at least let's get some talks on the table and let's get some movement going. And that is my end game. And that's the end game that I've told them. We need to get some movement going. I don't want to leave the table with just talk. We're going to get some movement going. And so know that JADASA is pushing and we're there to help you. And so we want you to come out and be a part of it. The vigil is from 6 to 8, but it's actually, it starts at 6. It's going to start at, the vigil is open at 6. The ceremony or the vigil is actually going to start at 6:15 and probably going to be done by 6:45 or 7 o'clock. And then after that, of course, the mayors and all of that, and we'll be out there and we'll, take pictures with the press. We're going to have press out there, and we're going to have tables out there for pamphlets, and you can talk to your mayor, your person, and ask them whatever you want to ask them. I'm sure they'll be happy to talk about this rally. Now on Saturday, October 23rd, at the Chroma Plaza down in the Grove, there is another organization, Diamond Diva Empowerment Center. They are spearheading this domestic violence rally and a walk, and that's going to be at 10 o'clock downtown. And I believe they're going to have the aldermen from the city down there that's going to be doing some proclamations, and I believe the mayor of the city, Tashara Jones, Mayor Jones, is going to be there as well. And so all of these organizations that you see at the bottom of the flyer, we are all coming together, just coming together, because you know what? One organization can't do it. I'm not going to try. I'm not going to try. I'm not going to try to fake the funk. I'm not going to try to get out there and act like I got it to go. No, I'm not going to do that. We all got to come together. St. Louis City and St. Louis County is big enough for all of us to work together instead of being silos. So we decided, we were going to have this. And of course, you all know this time every year, JADASA has 3K, 5K walk. Well, we kept you in mind, and we did not want to do it this year because of the variant out there and COVID. So we decided to do other things this year, but we will be back if this variant and nothing else then came out of, just haywire. We will be back on doing our same thing, the 3K, 5K, like we normally do. But this Saturday, the 23rd, if you want to go down there and be participate in that, please do so. So those are that is one more event that we're having. That's a community-wide event, to raise awareness for community. So we are a part of that. And I'm looking for I'm looking for some change. I'm looking for something to happen positively besides this, because we can do this real good. We know how to do this real good. It's time, this time out for this, and it's time to be moving this and changing some lives. And so that's what I am looking for. I'm going to try to stop sharing this, y'all. I hope I don't do some and stop screen right there. Okay, so anyway, I went and shared with that. I kind of went over my little time. I didn't want to be, spinning out, but I just had to give the props out for this week's event. I just had to do that. So, if I go over, I just go over, we'll be okay. So what I wanted to discuss today, I put out there that happy Indigenous Day, Indigenous People Day. And so it's a different kind of day, a different kind of holiday, and one that talks not only, it's about, I want to talk about, it's my other side of my heritage. Yes, I'm African American. Yes, I know that. But I'm also Native American as well. As you all can see, they was talking about my eyes and always talking about my history and my family and stuff. And so because my history is not only African American, our Native heritage is Cherokee, Choctaw, and Blackfoot Indian. So I decided, you know what? Let's go and see about this, how this works, because I ran across something not too long ago about domestic abuse in the Indigenous community. And so for those you all that don't know, 4 days ago, President Joe Biden issued the first presidential proclamation declaring this Indigenous Peoples Day. Now, today is Columbus Day too, right? So going forward, it is not only Columbus Day. For those who want to stick with that, that's your choice. I'm not, going to talk about that. I don't, either way. But then they also said this is Indigenous Peoples Day. Indigenous people is people of Native American and Alaskan descent. Now, I'm not of Alaskan descent, but a big part of my heritage is African American and Native American, Blackfoot, Cherokee, and Choctaw Indian. So that's my heritage. I just can't, forego it. It is what it is. And so I said I wanted to, and what it is, Indigenous is recognizing the resilience and the diversity of, yeah, we know what, Shalonda, recognize the resilience and the diversity of Indigenous people in the United States. And we know how things roll. They was pushed out in a trail of tears and they left. And so I know there's some Native American people here, but we don't have any reservations in Missouri. They've all been pushed out to Kansas and Oklahoma and that stuff like that through the Trail of Tears. So we already know that part. And so this is just an opportunity. Yeah, Columbus Day is today. Yeah. This is an opportunity to learn about and to celebrate Indigenous people, in the community and in the region, just to deepen our understanding and the awareness of, they had some adversities too. I know, we as Black, I'm Black, and so I had it on both, my family had it on both ends, my heritage, and yours too, probably. And so it just talks about the adversities and they had to overcome, and just an awareness, just to recognize that, they were here too. So anyway, what I was thinking about, everybody know about this Gabby Petito. We talked about that, and I talked about that, last week in church as well. And so I know one of the things they were talking about, the society and social media and all that stuff, that it took them 8 days to find out what this girl was. It still ended up a very sad case, and it was very heartbreaking that they ended up finding her and she was deceased. But they were talking about it, just raised the awareness of the discrepancy, or how they meaning society place more emphasis on one ethnic group or another one. And so there's this movement out there that's called the MMIW movement, and that stands for the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women. And so it's a movement that advocates the end of the violence, domestic violence against Native women. and it seeks to draw attention to the high rates of disappearance and murders of these women and girls. And so I was reading it and I was like, wait a minute. So they said from 2011 to 2020, I think I read that right, in Wyoming and Oklahoma, it's like 400 women and girls that have been missing or that end up dead due to violence. And they said only like 500 people. That don't make sense. That I might have read that wrong. So that point is national attentions and resources were not put to cases that's dealing with women of MMIW, missing and murdered Indigenous women. And so they're saying that, you know, it's a practice out there that why isn't it that, you know, these ladies, these bodies go missing for months. I think there was one little girl last year. It took them like 8 months to find her, or they found her remains, of course, but it took them like 8 months. And I know one of the things is some of these people are on reservations. Again, we don't have reservations in Missouri, but they have reservations in Oklahoma and Wyoming and stuff like that. And sometimes when you on those reservations, those laws are a little bit different. And because they're on reservations, they have so many different type of laws that's different than our federal laws and our state laws and stuff. So, you know, you got all this red tape and people falling through the cracks through these red tapes. We know about that, right? And so they're just trying to figure out how can they say in the Wyoming, the state where Petito's body, what is her name? Gabby Petito body was found. Only 18% of Indigenous female homicide, domestic abuse victims get coverage, get newspaper coverage versus 51% for white females or male. Now, I'm not trying to make this a black and white thing. I'm just telling you what the folks said and what they got in black and white. But they're trying to figure out, okay, yes, it was a nationwide coverage of Gabby Petito. Yes, everybody was on pins and needles, hoping that we would find her safe, you know, hoping, regardless, black, white, whatever. It's a person, it's a human issue. We was just hoping that she would be found safe. Well, she wasn't. But the MMIW is saying they were looking at the amount of coverage for her, but yet they had so many girls and women and young girls that have been missing way before Gabby, and they're still missing, and they still don't know what's going on, because now you still got those mothers that of Indian heritage. We talked about that, they still hurt, they still weary. Weary does not have a ethnicity. Pain does not have a color. Heartache doesn't define you by your social status. Heartache is heartache. Pain is pain. Weary is weary. It doesn't matter where you come from. I said this to somebody, I don't know, I think that was last week, when I lost my daughter for about 15 minutes in the store. I think she was 5 or something. That was the worst 15 minutes in my life. Time stopped for me. I mean, everything stopped because I could not find my daughter for 15 minutes. She was about 5. That was the most horrible feeling any mother can feel when they don't know where their child is, or they think their child have been taken, or they're missing. That is a horrible, horrible feeling. What am I saying? Because they are of Indigenous people, they are of Native descent or Alaskan descent, does not mean that mother and that father and that family does not hurt, does not worry, does not grieve, does not cry, is not feeling pain, is not feeling void. Those characteristics do not have a certain look or a certain feel or a certain group of people. Everybody feel the same thing. If you hurt, you just hurt, whether you whatever color. If you weary, you just weary. It has no person like, okay, because you just going through this. You would no. Everybody love their kids. Everybody love their kids. It says more than 4 in 5 American Indian and Alaska Native women and girls have experienced violence in their lifetime. Intimate partners violence. 4 out of 5. That's 80%. 4 out of 5. So if you got 5 people in the room with you, 4 of y'all been dealing with some abuse. That is a high number. And that's according to a report just from last year. And so they're just talking about, it's dealing with physical and psychological aggression, physical violence in the partner. We talked about the stalking, sexual violence, all of that. 4 out of 5. That is a high number. And so they have this thing. We always talk about the control wheel. And, it talked about different types of control. Well, I saw another wheel today, and I was trying to look at it. It's one that's called the culture wheel. And it displays different forms of abuse that Native American victims experience in their relationship. And it says cultural abuse. Now, this one, I said, okay, I'm going to have to, look at that, because now that I know that we have this day set aside for Indigenous people, then I want to know how they're being affected by this epidemic as well. Because remember, I said abuse crosses all boundaries. It doesn't care who you are. And so there's this cultural abuse. It isolates the victim from the community and harms their emotions. Families are shaped by certain rules that are turned and driven by cultural beliefs. We come from a culture too. It's just certain things we don't do. Remember, we have certain cultures that only in the African American community we may understand, and maybe somebody else that's not of the community may not understand. That's just the way it is, and vice versa. Well, they have this as well in cultural beliefs. And so, their abuse, they're saying their cultural abuse can be severe and disruptive, where the perpetrator may belittle their traditions, their practices, and their beliefs. Yeah, I can see that. Control their interactions with their other members of their families and the community, stop them from participating in ceremonies and gatherings. That's just like somebody, a Christian, stopping them, the abuser trying to stop you from going to church. Pretty much the same. Also trying to force them to practice some type of tradition that they don't want to. We can kind of turn it around to all of us now. And so they're saying we know the numbers are high as far as the abuse and the domestic violence and the murder rate. They just don't know how high because they haven't kept accurate records. So that means a lot of people missing, a lot of people is falling through the cracks, and they don't know where to start or how to start. So it says, according to a 2016 report from the National Institute of Justice, look at this, y'all, 84%. 84. Now, I'm of African American descent, and I'm also of Native American descent. I told you all, Choctaw, Cherokee, and Blackfoot. So this is a part of my heritage as well. It says 84% of American Indian and Alaska Native women have experienced violence in their lifetime. 84% people. 84. 84%. Out of 10 people, 8.5. And more than half experienced sexual violence. Wow. Additionally, researchers found that murder is the third leading cause of death among American Indian and Native women, Alaska Native women. So we got to do something. We as a community, that's a community as well. If you all didn't know, no, we may not have a reservation here, but we got people who are up. I found out about my heritage in 2003? No, my father wasn't living in 1993. when we had a family reunion and we sat down and went through all this stuff, and I found all these pictures, and I'm like, well, who is this Indian? This lady looked like the Indian. Remember you all when we used to have that commercial when we was kids, and the Indian would be standing on the side of the road, and somebody would throw the trash out the window, and it would hit the Indian on the foot, and all of a sudden you would see a tear come down. That commercial, that's what my grandmother looked like. And I was like, who is that? Who is that? First I said, who is that mean lady? And it was my grandmother. Oh, it's my great grandmother. My great grandmother. Full-blooded Indian. And I was like, okay, so then that's when I was talking to my dad and he shared all this stuff. And I realized that that is part of my heritage. That is part of my heritage. And so when I found out that there was a day for Indigenous people, and it is today, I found this out last week. So that's why I wanted to say Happy Indigenous Day, because that is a part of me. That's a part of my heritage. I have to embrace that just as much as I embrace my African-American heritage, because I'm just as much as that as well. But I want to find out the abuse statistics in this type of community. We talk about different communities all the time. And so this is something we need to figure out how we can bridge the gap, how we can help, how we can reach out and share and let them know we can't be inclusive. We can't afford to. We have to exclude. We can't be exclusive. I mean, we can't. That's what I take. We can't be exclusive. We have to be inclusive. We can't afford not to be. These are people who are hurting. These are people who need resources. These are people who have lost loved ones and still wondering where they at today. Still wondering, still having hope. And I talked about that a couple of weeks ago. I said, when you're going through stuff like this and you don't have an end, or you don't have closure, sometimes it hurts to hope, because you don't know where it's going to be and you don't know where it's going to go. So sometimes it hopes to hurt. It hurts to hope. I'm getting that backwards. Sometimes it hurts to hope. And so we're just talking about some of these Native communities and their histories. And this one particular lady, she is of Native American history. And she just said after she, dealt with her and her mom, generations of abuse, her mom, her grandmama, generations of abuse. It says that many Native communities are simply distrustful of non-tribal government. That means the U.S., that means the state. Anybody that's not a tribal government, they are distrustful of them because they have not come to the forefront. They have not tried to help them. They have not given them the same media coverage of anything of somebody that was in the same predicament that Gabby Petito was in. And even though she was found, and it was just still a devastating loss for her parents and for everybody that knew her and loved her, it was still a devastating loss. But these people are still wondering where their loved ones are, where their daughters are, where their nieces are, their grandkids. They still wondering, and they're not getting that same coverage. Well, that's something we're going to have to, look into and do as well. And so we know the history of, assimilations and the boarding schools. Anybody that, went to school and read all that stuff. And, we know and understand how all this happened. But regardless, we're here now. And so we know that. So now that I know that this is going on in this part of my heritage, because I'm just as much as Native American as African American, and I know that the numbers are even higher for Indigenous people, which are Alaskan and Native American people, when it comes to domestic abuse and harm and violence. And nothing is being done, or not as much is being done than somebody else that is not of that heritage, then that's something we need to do. We got to do that. We got to reach out to them and talk to them and educate them and share with them. We have to be open arms as advocates. because they've already drawn back because they feel like they have been forgotten, that nobody cares about their kids, nobody cares about their family, nobody cares about the abuse that they've endured, nobody cares about the loss, nobody cares about their suffering. That's how they feel, so they draw back. And so we as advocates, we have to be proactive. We have to go and extend the olive branch. We have to. And I'm willing to do that because I will let them know this is my heritage as well. And I'll tell them my tribes that my grandmother is from and my great grandmother is from. I will tell them my tribes. I understand and I know my history. So they'll know, hey, I'm in this before and I'm in this and I'm here to help you. And that's what we need. We need to go across the lines. I mean, as much as I'm on this podcast, I have learned so much. Even when I'm talking to you, I'm learning. When I do research, when I read stuff, I'm learning things that I didn't know that's helping me. So I can be even a better advocate and that I can educate and inform even more. And so, I just wanted to share that this is Indigenous People Day, the same day as Columbus Day. Joe Biden, our president, he has declared a proclamation 4 days ago that October 11th every year will be considered the Indigenous Peoples Day. I thank him for that and I appreciate him for that. And so now that's just a step. Now we are recognized. Now we know that there's a day set aside for them. So now let's go with the awareness, the education, the edification, and the exhortation. And let's get them the resources they need because they are going through and they're suffering the same domestic violence that so many other people around the world is suffering as well. And so I'm looking for everybody to, who you can reach out, let me know, we're in this together. We're in this together. And so I'm always going to leave you with this scripture, Jeremiah 29:11, for the Lord says, I know the thoughts that I think towards you, the thoughts of peace and not of evil, and I want to give you an expected end. And so what God is saying is that he is thinking some good things of us. He loves us. He is thinking very good. He's thinking about us. And he is thinking things of loving and peace. And he is not thinking things that's evil and that's going to hurt us. But why? Because he said, I want to give you an expected end. He wants to give you the end that you expect. And with that being said, if he wants to give you the end which you expect, what we want your end to be happy. We want your end to be joyous. We want your end to be violent free. We want your end to be abuse free. We want you to have the dreams that you want. Get back your dreams and your hopes and your aspirations. We want you to do those things. And so if you have anybody that's going through it, that's going through abuse, that's going through the neglect in any shape, form, or fashion, hey, reach out to JADASA at JADASA.org. You can call us on our 1-800 number, 1-800-292-2145. You can email us at info@JADASA.org, or you can go straight to my email, crbennett@JADASA.org. And we will reach out, we will work with you and try to get you the resources you need and you deserve. So I want you to remember that October the 20th, next week, we are going to be doing a vigil with all of the advocate centers in St. Louis, the metropolitan, and it's going to be at the YWCA metropolitan area. It's going to be at the 1155 Olivet Executive Parkway. We have several mayors who have agreed to come and give us proclamations, and they are going to declare from their municipalities that October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And so we would love for you to be out there. We're going to have the press coverage out there. We're going to have light snacks. We're going to have resource information, and we're going to have our political people out there. And so you can ask them any questions that you need to see what we can do to get stuff in North County, because everybody I've reached out to, every mayor that I've reached out to have been very, very receptive of my requests, and they are coming out to support because what's going on in their community affects them as well. And so with that being said, I want you all to come out. Please I'm going to put this this flyer on my personal Facebook page, and I'm going to put it on the JADASA page as well. I would love to see you come out. And I want you to do this. I want you to be safe. I want you to be well, and I want you to be whole. And with that being said, good night.